We'd like to start each service with an acknowledgement of the land we are on. The Eureka Center for Spiritual Living acknowledges that the land on which we gather is the ancestral territory of the Wiyot peoples. This territory extends to the communities throughout most of Humboldt County, and we honor the Wiyot peoples today. Oh. Okay, we're going to do the welcoming affirmation. Oh, I've got it. So we're going to do the first part together, and then we're going to turn to someone and say, with the hey nani nani and a hot cha cha. That's in honor of Groucho Marx. Okay, we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. With a hey nani nani and a hot cha cha. Yes. Excellent. Here's our weekly schedule, so take a moment to soak it in, see if there's anything you want to join in on. I want to just say that the Welcome Wellness Group is open to anybody, anytime, with anything that you want to heal in your life. It can be physical, mental, spiritual, social, economic. So, okay, moving on. Max, would you come up?
You dirty dog, you.
No. We discussed this.
Yes, we did. I put it in your lap.
It was 5 minutes ago, so neither of us remember. That's why I wrote it down.
What'd you say? Thank you. Oh, good morning, everybody. Well, we had highway cleanup yesterday. Yes, and it was a beautiful day. It wasn't hot like it is now. And let's see, I got 4 honks. I don't know what the rest of you got. That's waves. Waves, that counts, yeah.
And honks are because you're not supposed to clean the actual highway. You're supposed to clean the side of the highway. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. That's going to be so helpful in the future. And maybe we'll get more enthusiastic volunteers. I did notice something odd there. But let's see. And I'd like to mention my helpers. James Eddington. James, are you
right there.
Here? Would you stand, James, please? Thank you. And Brian Rayleigh. And myself. So we done good. We got eight plus bags. And our next highway cleanup is in September. We skip a month. It'll be the second Saturday in September. There'll be announcements, and you can decide if you want to go or not. So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Bev, would you like to come up and say something?
Alrighty. Good morning. I know when you see me, you realize it's Bridge House. It's back to school backpacks. This is a little preschooler bag that we have. I have already gotten quite a few of them, and I'm just waiting on a few more in the mail. They go back to school on the 19th of August this year. So we'll be having a backpack stuffing party on the 14th. That's a Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And anyone that wants to come and join in, it shouldn't take a real long time, but I'll have all the supplies and everything. It's just easier because I know it's age appropriate after doing it all this time. And we'll have the table set up, and you can help me stuff them, and Bridge House people are coming, and they'll take them with them when they go. So it should be a lot of fun and good energy, and we'll send these kids back to school with a wahoo. So please give a little extra and put Bridge House on it, or put backpacks, or you can see me and I will take a donation towards the backpack fund this year. Alrighty, thank you.
How many are in Bridge House?
Right now we have 11 children. Okay, we have 3 or 4 that are real little ones, all the way up to a 17-year-old that's starting CR this year. So she's going on to that. I'm real happy we can help her get a hold on that project too. So a lot of little ones, and then it jumps up to kind of act filter Sue.
So does that mean there'll be around that many at Christmas time?
You can't, it's hard to say. That's really hard to say. I would plan, it's kind of getting back to be up there again, but it depends on when they're ready to move from Bridge House itself, and they help them find a home and then get moved into that place so they can continue their lives on their own, you know? That, yeah.
When would you like our donation?
Anytime that you have it is good, and you can put it on through to the center if you want to do it that way, or you can see me. You can stick it in an envelope behind the chair and put it in the offering. Just write backpacks.
You get a tag?
No, that's Christmas. Yep, not this time around. Any more? Okay, great. Thank you.
I would just like to say that Bev has been our liaison with the Bridge House for many years, not only doing the backpacks and the Christmas presents and the Christmas tree and taking supplies over there, and so I'd like to give her a round of applause. Talk about spreading good in the community. Okay, now Reverend Angelica has something to say.
Okay, move to my slide. There we go. Okay. I was really happy to see this come across the ministers list this weekend. Dr. David Alexander of the Atlanta Church had this, he's putting out this program, and absolutely anybody can join in. There's a text number down there at the bottom that's almost covered up. There we go. But he's going to, starting July 28th, he's going to be putting out daily mindful messages from various New Thought leaders, and I'm going to be one as well. There's a weekly Zoom community check-in. There is intentional community building, and it's based on proven somatic healing practices. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I'm going to be learning it. So, as you can see, what it's all about is tuning out the fear and tuning in the wisdom, which I'm really glad that he's doing this, because I've been listening to people calling me about, well, what happens if this and that, and I don't know if I could live here if this and that happens, etc. A lot of fear going on this year and concern. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to start a group where we can sit and talk about it and pray about it and set our intentions, because what I'm going to mention in my talk, as well as right this moment, what you focus on, you get to experience. So what are we going to focus on? We're going to focus on love. And I immediately joined in and wrote to David and said, oh, thank you for doing this. Now I don't have to. So this phone number, this picture will be in tomorrow's newsletter. If you're not on the newsletter list, make sure that I have your email address so that you can get it. So it's not that you have to participate in anything, but just getting the daily affirmations, I believe, will help us a lot. So know, too, that everybody who's joining in on this is committed to doing spiritual mind treatment for peace in our country. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Angelica. Coming up is our 40th anniversary potluck barbecue. Mark your calendars. Saturday, September 7th. Thank you. From 1 to 4. Yes. Music by the Anna Hamilton Trio. Yeah, baby. Gonna rock this joint. So be sure to come. It's a potluck.
I am the chair of this particular event, and if anybody wants to help out, let me know. It's September 7th.
Angelica is saying, Reverend Angelica is saying that she is the chair of this. So if you want to help out with this, get in touch with her.
Indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
I'll bring a pot.
We have a beautiful metal thing for your band to stand on. We did it last time.
Be a part of creating our mural. Here it is. How, you say, can I be a part of this? Well, each square is $22, and you make a donation, and you sign your name, and you initial how many squares you've purchased for $22, and it's going to be done the final week of July and the first week of August. So we're getting pretty close. So, Judy, you want to say anything? Judy is going to pick up any squares that might be left over. You want to say anything? She's smiling. Thank you, Judy.
Buy the rest.
Yeah. Hurry up and buy the rest. We'll show Judy. Okay, so I'm going to leave this on the table over there, and then it'll be in the social hall the rest of the time, and there's a pen here to use. Isn't that pretty?
Yes, of course. It won't look exactly like that.
Hey, there he goes.
Oh, thanks, James.
Right on. Signing up.
Mention who the artist is.
The artist is a local artist named Lacey Dane. And if you look up her website, I think if you just look up lacydane.com, you'll see some of the other stuff that she's done, and she's incredible. We're fortunate to have her. July sale, great summer reading. All new books except Reverend Angelica's are 20% off. So stock up to take them to the beach. Little Pantry is always open to receiving new goods except ramen. Individual servings, please. Pop tops. Just think if you were really, really hungry and you wanted something that you didn't have to cook or have a can opener for, you could just go and get it and eat it and then properly dispose of the container. That's what we're looking for. Excuse me, what? Yeah, we should set up outside seating. Have waiters. Get some tips. This month's theme is freedom. Now, this reminds me of the story of a fly that was in a restaurant, and the waiter was carrying a delicious bowl of soup to a diner, and the fly went, "Oh, that looks good," and he landed on it. Well, he was immediately in trouble. You know, "Oh my God, I can't get out of here. I'm swamped. I'm going to get eaten." And the waiter puts it in front of the diner. The diner looks down and he goes, "What's this fly doing in my soup?" And the waiter goes, "Looks like he's praying." And the diner goes, "Very funny. Take this away. I can't eat this." And the waiter takes the bowl and he goes, "Well, it looks like the fly's prayers were answered." So, with that in mind,
We better than last week.
oh, am I being judged? Now we're going to have a moment of peace with Susan Hess and Jackson. Susan? Followed by our message from Reverend Angelica.
Hi.
Hi. Good to see you.
You too. Thank you. Don't want the remote. My reading today is from Peace is Every Step by Thich Nhat Hanh, and it's from a chapter named Aimlessness. But my interpretation of what he's saying is that it's not walking around blithely, with no aim. It is not concentrating so much on your goal that you forget what you're doing. To be aware of everything that is going on. In other words, mindfulness. So, my reading is on mindfulness. And I'd invite you to just settle into your seats. Take these words in after the reading. There'll be a minute of silence, and then Jackson will lead us into the invocation. The foundation of happiness is mindfulness. The basic condition for being happy is our consciousness of being happy. If we are not aware that we are happy, we are not really happy. When we have a toothache, we know that not having a toothache is a wonderful thing. But when we do not have a toothache, we are still not happy. A non-toothache is very pleasant. There are so many things that are enjoyable, but when we don't practice mindfulness, we don't appreciate them. When we practice mindfulness, we come to cherish these things and we learn how to protect them. By taking good care of the present moment, we take good care of the future. Working for peace in the future is to work for peace in the present moment.
Peace I give unto you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. My peace I give unto you.
The peace that is given unto us is always there. The peace and the love that come from the one source, the one power and the presence, is always available to us if we turn to it, if we embrace it, if we accept it, knowing it is always ours to claim, to use, and to be. And so I know that this gathering today is gathered in peace, it's gathered in love, and knows that with the support of each other, with the leadership of our lovely Reverend Angelica and the ecclesiastical core, that we are divine instruments of peace. We are divine instruments of love. And so I know that each one of us here supports each other in this love and this peace and this growing of our consciousness and this raising of our thoughts. And I know that this is good and very good, and so I just simply let it be. And so it is.
not as the world giveth, give I unto you. My love I give unto you.
And now I'd like to welcome Reverend Angelica.
Good morning, everyone. So this morning we get to talk about freedom of choice. I've thought a lot about this week, about the idea of having choice and what does that actually mean when we say we have freedom of choice. Well, of course, I look at everything metaphysically. So metaphysically, the freedom to choose delves into the profound questions about the nature of reality, the existence and nature of the self, the interplay between determinism and free will, and the moral and ethical consequences of our perceived ability to make choices. And as I was thinking about this statement, I thought about the fact that we are making a choice every single moment of our lives. Anything that's in our experience, we've chosen. Anything we're doing, the things we're thinking, we've chosen to think that. Some of it, of course, is predicated upon what we might have learned as children and or from society, etc. But here's a few areas where I realize that we're making choices. So we're making choices in our actions and our behaviors all the time. So we're choosing what to eat and how much. We're choosing how to spend our time and how to interact with others. We're choosing beliefs and values. Our beliefs, values, and principles, which involve our religious or spiritual beliefs, our political views, our moral standards, etc. We're choosing our career and education, what path we're going to be going on and when we're going to change that path for another, perhaps, our educational pursuits and our professional development. We're choosing all of this. In our relationships, we choose who to form relationships with and what kind of relationships we want to create. And we also choose whether to maintain or leave those relationships. We choose reactions and attitudes. We choose how to react to situations and the attitudes that we adopt once we've reacted to them. And we choose how we respond to challenges and setbacks and successes. We're constantly choosing. We're choosing our lifestyle choices, such as where we live, how we manage our health and wellness, our hobbies and our interests, etc. We're choosing our path of personal growth all the time, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. We're choosing ethical and moral decisions, and we have the freedom to do this, which I'm grateful for. Such as how to act in situations involving right and wrong, fairness and justice. We're choosing how to express ourselves creatively, whether it's through art or music, writing, whatever forms of creative expression we choose. We're choosing what to consume. And by this I mean we're choosing what books to read, what movies to watch, what TV things to do, and what goods we're purchasing. And we're choosing spiritual and philosophical pursuits. So in this choosing, we have the freedom, again, to choose what we want to explore, what path we want to explore, what faith tradition we want to explore, what philosophical things we want to explore. So these are just a few things, 11 things actually, that I thought of that we're constantly choosing, and I was putting them, giving everything labels. But again, I'm going to say to us that we are choosing all the time. And so let's look at what Dr. Holmes says. Well, first I want to make mention of one thing. You're free to choose, but not free from the consequences of your choices. Think about that for a moment. You're free to choose, but you're not free from the consequences of the choices that you make. So Dr. Holmes emphasized the concept of freedom to choose within our spiritual philosophy. And here are some key points that he brings about. So first of all, he believed in the power of thought. He believed that our thoughts are powerful and that we have the freedom to choose our thoughts. And by choosing positive, constructive thoughts, we can shape our reality and experience greater harmony and fulfillment in our lives. I read a lot about this idea of the power of thought over the week, and there are things that happen in our lives where we think, well, I didn't choose that, or I didn't bring that about through my thoughts. For instance, if we're suddenly involved in a hurricane or a tsunami, I guess we wouldn't have hurricanes here, but we now there is a choice, right? I mean, a choice that we're living in a place where environmental protections are breaking down. A choice that we're thinking that they are or believing that they are. And I have that belief myself. And yet, it's done unto us as we believe. All of the great masters have told us that, including Dr. Holmes. So my job, if I'm fully going to choose to live this spiritual philosophy full out, then I have to pay attention to what I am believing. Do I want to believe that we're in environmental chaos? Well, it certainly looks like it. So I can look out there and I can believe what's happening. Or I could see, okay, this is happening. However, what I'm going to choose is, and then you might say, well, how could one person change anything? Well, there's a whole story in the Bible about that. I can't remember the guy's name at the moment, though. Where the man is walking with God, and they're outside some town that I also can't remember, and he's telling God, or God says something about, or he says to God he wants to save the town. Apparently maybe it was Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, okay. So Sodom and Gomorrah, he's saying, this town is really well known for all kinds of interesting stuff happening. And so, is it Jacob? Or Lot. Okay, thank you. Are you sure it was Lot? Oh, yeah, okay. See how good a minister I am? I remember the story, though. But I remember that the thing is he says, what if I got 50 good people? Would you save the city? And the universe says yes. Or what if I got 20 good people? Yes. Or what if I got 10? And still the universe says yes. And the trick is that when you're looking at numerology in the Bible, when they mention the word 10, it really takes it down to one. One person fully believing can change the world. That's a hard thing to believe, because we look at what's happening out there and we forget that on a quantum level, we're agreeing with lots of other people who are believing that everything's going to hell in a handbag out there, and so it has to. It's done unto us as we believe. So I really believe in the power of our thought and choosing positive, constructive thoughts in which then I create my reality and I help create yours. And as we join together as one, which is why I like this whole intention process that Dr. David Alexander is going to share with us, that the more people you get together, the stronger the energy has got to be. They call it entanglement in quantum physics. We're very, very, very entangled. We're not separate individuals. We're expressions of one great energy. And I used to think of it as my example that I used in class this week was that like a pointillism painting. You've seen like the garden and various paintings that are all just made out of little tiny dots. Well, that's like we're each one of us is one of those dots. And yet if you look under the surface of those dots, it's all connected. Everything is connected. Everything is connected. So power of thought. The second one is creative mind. According to Dr. Holmes, there's a universal mind or creative mind that responds to our thoughts and beliefs. By aligning our thoughts with the principles of truth and goodness, we can consciously create the life that we desire. If you go into the Course in Miracles, it teaches us that all there is fear and love. Now, there's various degrees of fear and there's various degrees of love. But at the very bottom, there's only those two emotions. My job as a religious scientist or one that practices this teaching is to pay attention to which emotion I'm living. Am I living in fear or am I living in love? I want to live in love. And so I'm working on that constantly. That's one thing I think about our teaching. It's an easy teaching, but it takes a long time to learn it. I mean, I've been a minister for 38 years. So there's 4 years before that I was in it. So, I've been doing this for a long time, and I constantly have to rip my mind off of the attention that it wants to be on and put it back where it's supposed to be, in love, in peace, which is my third one, personal responsibility. Holmes emphasized personal responsibility in the exercising of free will. He taught that we are responsible for our choices and their consequences, and that through understanding and applying spiritual laws, we can make choices that lead to positive outcomes. Personal responsibility. So easy to get together with a bunch of people and go, did you hear this? Did you hear that? And we're building on what we've heard and what we think, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And 99% of the time, that thinking is negative. I remember, I've used this before, but before I got into the ministry and was just learning about this stuff, walking into the coffee room in the company that I worked for, I always heard gossiping. And one day, and participated in it a lot. And one day I thought, oh, wait, I can't do this anymore. And so I decided to be the one that threw in the positive of whatever was happening or whoever they were talking about. And I realized that I had to take personal responsibility to change my thinking in order to change my life. And at first when I started to do it, my friends at the company made fun of me. They didn't make fun of me too hard though, because I managed the accounting department. But I could tell that they're, oh no, not her again. There's that Pollyanna thinking. Pollyanna was one of the books I read as a child. have told you about how abusive my mother was, and yet she taught me how to read, or encouraged my reading at a very, very young age, before even going to kindergarten, and then provided me with books to read. And the book Pollyanna, people use that as a derogatory term, but actually it's really good. If you watch the Disney movie, she changed the whole town because of how she said the things that she said. She believed in the good. My fourth one is inner divinity. Now here's where we're really, the rubber hits the road, so to speak. Holmes taught that each individual has an inner divinity, and by connecting with this inner divinity, we can access greater wisdom and guidance in making our choices. Part of our teaching is meditation, spiritual mind treatment, and affirmations. Part of our teaching is daily using our spiritual tools. When I go on vacation, I tend not to do my daily work because I'm not sitting in my prayer chair or have my books that I read with me or whatever, and I'm having too much fun, and so I get home, and then I have to work at getting back into that pattern again. So again, this is an easy faith tradition, but you have to work at it. You have to continually work at it. And what are we working at? We're remembering that we're not separate from the divine. None of us are. Each one of us is a point of an expression, an individualized expression of this one great energy that is the source and substance of absolutely everything. You are God, just like I am. Everybody is. Everything is. The chair you're sitting on is divine energy. The building we're in is divine energy. So remembering this inner divinity is really an important part of our teaching, which leads into the law of cause and effect. Holmes often spoke about the law of cause and effect, which states that our thoughts and actions are the causes that produce corresponding effects in our lives. Understanding this law empowers us to make conscious choices that align with our highest good. So if we're paying attention to that inner divinity and we realize that our thoughts are powerful and that we do have a creative mind and we have a personal responsibility once we step into this teaching to do it, to live it, you might say, then we begin to understand that everything we're thinking, everything that we're saying, everything that we're feeling is creating something in our life. Everything. For a long time, for about a year now, I've had this cat that I rescued from across the street when they moved, and they just left him. He had never lived in their house, I know that, but one of the boys, the young boys, brought the kitten home. And so here's this basically wild cat living outside that they left. So what could I do? You know, I mean, so I put food out, you know, out in the street for it, and slowly brought it closer and closer to my house. And finally, this cat came in. This cat has a tail that goes all the way around and touches his back. So I decided his name was Curly. And Curly's a wild cat. I'm in church right now. I'll call you when I get out.
Oops.
Hey, church is a good place to be right now, right? Okay, so Curly finally decides he's going to come in the house, but he can't handle it in the house. You know, I mean, it's like he's locked in, and he's still a wildcat. So I purchased a cat window to put in part of a window with the cat door so that he can go in and out whenever he wants. But then I had to teach him that I really didn't want him to go out at night. There's bears in the gully that come into my yard. There's, animals there that he could get in a fight with or something like that. And so I realized at one point of our relationship that as long as I thought Curly was a wildcat, he was going to act like a wildcat. And it's like, oh, right. So I started, cuddling with him more, letting him, really appreciating the fact that he's a really beautiful cat. And, just treating him as if he was an indoor cat, or that he was my cat, that he was part of my family. And now he still goes out a lot, but he doesn't get frantic when the cat window is locked. It's like, come on, Mom, open it up, kind of thing. But he's gotten to the place now where he is, he likes to play, and he rolls over so I can scratch his tummy and all this kind of stuff. And I realized that that's because I decided that he was no longer a wildcat, which in my mind now, part of a wildcat is somebody that scratches and bites. He doesn't scratch and bite anymore. He likes to be petted. He likes to be a good cat. So there's the law of cause and effect in action in mine and the cat's life. And my last one is freedom from limitation. Holmes believed that spiritual understanding can free us from limitations imposed by negative thinking, fear, and ignorance. By realizing our inherent freedom, we can overcome obstacles and achieve our highest potential. So this freedom from limitation, limitation is in every single aspect of our lives. We've limited ourselves in some way. Those of you who are on diets know what this means, right? We might limit ourselves from doing certain activities because we're getting older. My limit with the cat was thinking he was wild and bit and scratched, etc. So when I moved beyond that, then it freed me from my beliefs freed me from those negative experiences that I was having. So some of the key points from our teachings are the power of thought, creative mind, personal responsibility, inner divinity, law of cause and effect, and freedom of limitation. Another quote that Dr. Holmes uses a lot is, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker as they think into it. Or, as we used to see on the Science of Mind magazine all the time, I don't know if it's still there, change your thinking and change your life. He also says, we must consciously know that we can use creative power. The more complete such acceptance on our part, the more completely we will be able to use this power for definite purposes. So this freedom of choice that we're speaking about this morning is about using our personal power, using the power within us personally to create an even better life. And so there's a couple of ideas I want to give you about this real quickly. One is, the spirit of the divine gives generously and freely of itself. It doesn't matter whether you're saying, oh, I'm sick. It says, yes, my darling. Or if you say, oh, I'm rich, or I'm healthy, or whatever you want to say positively, it says, yes, my darling, and it gives you more. It gives generously and freely of itself. It doesn't judge. The law of the divine is an equal opportunity employer. It works for everybody, and it lets everybody work it. There isn't any point where it says, you're too old, you can't use it, you weren't good enough, you can't use it, etc. It's going to work regardless. And my last one, and the most important one, is divine mind must come through you. Through you. And so my invitation this week then is to allow its grace to move through you. Remember that you have the power of choice. You are able to choose. You have the freedom of choice. You are able to choose anytime you want, anything you want. So choose well and choose good stuff. Let's say our affirmation. Knowing my life is only constrained by my own thoughts, today I open my mind and heart to allow Spirit's greater vision for my life to take form. I am filled with peace, trust, and the gentle knowing that all is God and all is good. And let's do a treatment, or an affirmative prayer, or whatever we want to call it, spiritual mind treatment. How grateful I am to remember that there is only one life. That life is divine life. That life is absolutely perfect. And that life is the life that we are all living right now. So I say these words in the first person to make it easier for us to embody. And I declare right now that I am ready and willing to acknowledge the freedom of choice in my life. I recognize that I'm always making choices, and from this moment on, I choose to make really good ones. Choices that are for my highest and best good, and choices that are for the highest and best good of those around me. And I know that as I make these choices, the law of the divine, this unconditionally loving force, moves through me, creating what it is that I'm choosing. I also allow myself to pay attention to my thinking, to what I'm believing. I set aside a part of my mind that reminds me gently, easily, and humorously when I am going down a road that isn't beneficial to my highest good. And I change my mind. I have the power to choose. So I choose the highest and best that I could possibly ever imagine. And if I'm having a hard time imagining, I let the universe imagine. I know the highest and best truth. And the universe says, yes, my darling. So with a grateful heart, I allow myself to remember these things and to know that as I live my life at a higher level, I bring everybody up along with me. And I choose to live in love. Divine love. And I choose to allow myself to feel that divine love. Because I know that that's what the universe is. Divine love in action. And so I celebrate it, I'm grateful for it, and so it is. Our music this morning is by Anna Hamilton. Is it hard to get up right after having a treatment and
It
then
is really hard to get up after that.
jump into it? Maybe, I don't know what we can do to change that. There must be something.
A profound meditation. What a way to go. So today I'm going to sing a song song that I always thought had this amazing poetry. And first of all, it's the poetry. Second of all, it's this, there's two messages in here. One has kind of gone out of date, which kind of makes you reflect upon how you believe one thing and then you evolve into another way of thinking. And the other is an affirmation of what we call our beliefs, that our, what we think, what we dream has power. And the first thing that I've evolved past is the fantasy of populism will save the world. We know that ain't working right now. So, but the beautiful poetry, I was dreaming of a dreaming of an aspect pure and fair. And where there were deserts, I saw fountains like cream, the waters rise. So, Patti Smith, the people have the power, and there's some powerful singing in here, so get ready. I was dreaming, in my dreaming, of an aspect bright and fair, and my sleeping, it was broken, but my dream, it lingered near, in the form of shining valleys, where the pure air recognized, and my senses newly open, I awaken to the cry that the people have the power to redeem the world from fools, that the people, the graces shower, is to create the people rule. People have the power, come on. People have the power. People have the power. The people have the power. People have the power. People have the power. Vengeful aspects became suspect and bending low as if to hear, and the armies ceased advancing because the people had their ear, and the shepherds and the lamb lay together beneath the stars, exchanging visions, laying arms to waste in the dust, in the form of shining valleys, where the pure air recognized, and in my senses newly open, I awaken to the cry, people have the power, people have the power, people have the power, people have the power. Where there were deserts, I saw fountains like cream, the waters rise, and we strolled there together, not to laugh or criticize, and the leopard and the lamb lay together, truly bound. I was dreaming in my dreaming, God knows a pure view, as I lay down in my sleeping, I commit my dream to you. People have the power. People have the power. The people have the power. the power to dream, to rule, to wrestle a world from fools, is to create the people rule. It's to create the people rule. Listen, I believe everything we dream can come to pass through our union. We can turn the world around. We can turn the earth's revolution. We have the power. Come on. People have the power. One more time. People have the power. People have the power. Good singing.
All right. Now is our opportunity to share our good with the center, and I have to tell you that the center appreciates it greatly. So let's read our affirmation. I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses the center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. So with a grateful heart, we bless these offerings, knowing that they are given in grace, received in grace, and I know that they multiply in every way, both to the giver and to the receiver. And so it is.
And so it is.
I don't even remember what we do next. The community statement of inclusion. Would anyone like to read this? Okay, Kathy. We'll let our council president read it this morning. Yay! Yeah.
I have it.
Oh.
Hello. All right. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates for people with human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so that we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. To get to know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Thank you very much. So I believe that Donna's going to come up and lead us in the song, so if everybody would stand up.
And right before we do that, I have a demonstration I'd like to share. I love my washer and dryer. I bless it every time I push the button and put the dirty, all that stuff in. Well, last week I went to my beloved washer and I put the clothes in and I did and all that stuff, and it just went, The water didn't run, and I went, oh dear. So I did another setting on it. Oh dear. Okay, I go, you're such a good washer. What's going on? So finally messed around with the dial, put it on the gentle, and it worked. And I'm like, okay, but it doesn't spin dry on the gentle cycle. So then I futzed with it, Finally, I called the technician, and I've been praising this washer. It's like, gosh, you're only 12 years old. Everything's good. You have a lot of life in you, washer. And, we're having this one-week conversation. Well, the technician showed up, and he undid all of his stuff, and as I was explaining where the hum was and where the water didn't run, and then it did, and then he futzed around with his laptop thingy, and I'm thinking, this washer's too old that a laptop's going to heal anything on it, but oh well, that's how they do it now. So it's about 10 minutes into this, I walk through the washroom, and he says, could you say, I deny the service today? I went, I deny the service today. He goes, okay, you're done. It would have been a $109 house call. So I asked him actually, how much is there change? 109.24 cents or something. He goes, no, just can you say, no. So I said that. He gathered up his tools and he walked out. So I go back in, and my washer is healed. It was just awesome. You're such a good washing machine. So,
Frugal too.
and very frugal. Thank you, washer gods. So let us now do our peace song. Wow. No, my hair looked like that. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. God has the power, none can glory. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins
Thank you for being here this morning, everyone. Have a great week.